Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I'm feeling a little bit better than last week. Um, yeah, I'm feeling a bit more positive, so that's good. I hope you guys are all doing well too. Um, I have a slightly different setup today. My microphone is a little bit further away from my mouth than it usually is, but I'm pretty loud. I'm a pretty loud person, so hopefully you will still be able to hear me loud and clear. So, I'm just gonna jump right into today's topic because I know last episode I talked a lot at the beginning, and I just want to jump right in because I'm going to try and record a couple of episodes today. So, today's topic is something that I think is a very common conversation topic that comes up in a lot of different spaces. So I hope that you'll find some of the vocab useful and things like that. Because yeah, people are definitely always talking about this. It's basically the whole genre, the whole theme of diets. And when I talk about diets, I don't mean like dieting to lose weight. I mean the different ways in which we choose to eat. So today I'm going to be talking about specifically veganism and lactose and gluten intolerant, and a few other interesting dietary choices. And in this episode, I will be sharing my personal journey. I will also discuss the challenges of maintaining these diets, and I will also explore the other types of diets, like I mentioned before, such as pescatarian and fruitarian. So, if you don't know what that means, you'll find out soon enough. We'll also touch on some studies and statistics to give you a well-rounded view. So, let's get started. Basically, I want to talk about my personal experience with veganism. So, a few years ago, I want to say that it was like 2021, maybe. I can't really remember, but I decided to go vegan, but it only lasted for about 6 months. The decision was driven by health reasons, and because I thought, like, I basically already ate a plant-based diet. So I thought to myself, how hard can it really be? And at first, I was really excited about the challenge, and this dietary change. And I also thought it might give me some potential health benefits because I actually have a chronic illness. I was diagnosed 7 years ago, and I have a lot of different symptoms. So, diet is super important to me. And I thought that it was going to make me feel better, but I will reveal that that wasn't the case. Um, Also, I am, not was, I am allergic to gluten and dairy. So that also made this journey particularly challenging because, trying to eat vegan and then gluten and dairy free was kind of hard. So I want to kind of outline the challenges that I faced and why I decided to quit being vegan. I found it hard to find suitable foods. So, yeah, one of the biggest challenges I faced was finding foods that fit all of my dietary restrictions because obviously veganism alone requires avoiding all animal products, um, which includes, cheese and eggs, obviously meat, fish, chicken, anything that comes from an animal. And even some people who are vegan choose to avoid eating honey because it's produced by bees, which are insects and technically animals. So, not all vegans avoid honey, but a lot of them do. So, yeah, I just found that trying to avoid all animal products and then also adding in my gluten and dairy allergies, it made grocery shopping an absolute nightmare, or shall I say an adventure. But I spent a lot of times reading labels and researching ingredients and thinking about how I was going to get enough protein without fish or chicken, trying to find plant-based proteins, and things like that. So yeah, it was a bit tricky. Sorry, if you see me reaching down, I am petting a dog. I'm dog sitting right now, and this little girl, she's actually a big girl. She's very needy, so she really needs a lot of attention. And if you hear her in the background or you see me petting her, that's what's going on. Um, so another thing that was challenging about being vegan was eating out. Um, it, okay, sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Dora, you need to go lie down, my love. You can't sit on my lap. You're too big. I'm sorry. Go lie down. Lie down. Lie down. Go lie down. Sorry. I swear, my whole life is just teaching English and dogs. It's like all I do. There's always a dog interrupting my podcast. So yeah, eating out became kind of a nightmare. A lot of restaurants offer vegan options or gluten-free options or dairy-free options, but they all of that combination, vegan and gluten-free, it's less common, especially in Spain. It can be hard sometimes. So it's definitely getting better though. Over the past couple of years, I've noticed like so many more restaurants are offering vegan and gluten-free. So at the time, like in 2021, it was very frustrating trying to find items on menus that I could eat, but I'm sure it's getting better now. Actually, the main reason why I quit being vegan was nutritional concerns. That was a big issue for me. I had to be mindful of my protein intake and also B12, which is a vitamin that's found naturally in animal products. A lot of vegans have to supplement B12. They have to take a vitamin. And I relied on a lot of supplements to try and balance my diet. I actually ended up going to a nutritionist because I felt awful. I had really low energy, and she said she did some blood tests, and she said that I really needed to eat chicken and salmon at least. I don't know if she said once or twice a week. So yeah, nowadays I don't eat red meat very often, so like beef. I don't really eat much pork, but I do eat chicken or salmon at least twice a week. So, despite these challenges, I still think the vegan diet has its benefits, and I really enjoyed experimenting with these new recipes. I discovered a bunch of plant-based foods that I didn't know about before. For example, there's a substitute chicken, like a vegan chicken thing that's called Eura. It's spelled Heura. And I think it's only available in Spain. But if you're ever in Spain and you're interested to try Eura, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It seriously tastes like real chicken and it's crazy. So you can find it in any grocery store. And yeah, it's definitely worth trying. But yeah, I don't have anything obviously against people who choose to be vegan, and I think it's great. But for me personally, with the lactose and the gluten, it's tricky. So yeah, that leads me on to my next topic, which is talking about lactose and gluten intolerance. So these conditions affect millions of people worldwide, and that it significantly impacts your dietary choices. I was diagnosed lactose intolerant when I was 13, and the gluten intolerance, I was never diagnosed, but I realized through an elimination diet, which means avoiding a certain food, that I was definitely gluten intolerant. And since avoiding gluten, I think my stomach has been a lot better. So, lactose intolerance is a super common condition. I've got some statistics here. It affects approximately 65% of the global population after infancy. So, once you grow up and you're not a baby anymore, your body can sometimes have this problem where it doesn't produce enough lactase. And lactase is basically the enzyme which is needed in order to break down the sugar lactose. So if your body doesn't produce enough lactase, the enzyme, then you cannot break down the sugar in lactose products, and this causes a bunch of different symptoms. And they're not fun symptoms. I'm talking from firsthand experience, unfortunately. The symptoms include bloating, which means when your stomach gets really big and you feel bloated, diarrhea. I don't have to explain that one. Abdominal pain, stomach pain, after consuming dairy products. And it's so important for people that are lactose intolerant to find alternatives so you can avoid all this discomfort. It's crazy though. Like I have so many friends and acquaintances who are lactose intolerant, but they just eat lactose anyways. And I used to be like this, but it got to a certain point where I couldn't even eat like the tiniest bit of cheese or tiniest bit of chocolate or ice cream or whatever without like being really sick. So I think, lactose intolerance has different degrees of severity, which means it can be kind of mild and not so severe, and then it can be really serious and severe like mine. So yeah, some people are just a little bit like mildly lactose intolerant and they just don't care. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just taking a sip of my iced coffee real quick. Oh man, it's a little bit watery. Too much ice, too much ice. I made a mistake. 1 sec. Okay, I gave it a little shake, a little stir, and now it's tasting a bit better. Okay, so I want to talk about alternatives that you can eat. If you are recently diagnosed lactose intolerant or you're just interested, there are so many lactose-free options available, such as lactose-free milk. And of course, I'm sorry, there's a lot of plant-based milks. Like, for example, in my iced coffee right now, I'm drinking almond milk. That is my plant-based milk of choice. But you also have soy milk, rice milk, oat milk, coconut milk. I've tried them all, and honestly, I find that almond is my favorite. Almond has the least aggressive flavor, in my opinion. Soy milk, it's fine. But like rice and coconut have a very watery texture and obviously coconut flavor. And then oat milk just has like this really strong flavor for me that I personally don't like. Also, if you're just mildly lactose intolerant, you can take a lactase supplement, which will help you digest dairy. So you can take the lactase enzyme in a pill form, and it can help you digest. I used to take those when I was in my teenage years, and it kind of worked, but then into adulthood, it stopped working. Um, so gluten intolerance, like I said, it's not something that I was specifically diagnosed with. I kind of just realized that I was gluten intolerant on my own. So gluten intolerance is different. There's two different types. So you can be like you can have celiac disease, that's spelled Celiac, celiac. You can have celiac disease or a non-celiac gluten sensitivity, and I have non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Um, Celiac disease is very, very serious. It's actually an autoimmune disorder that impacts about 1% of people worldwide, and non-celiac is more mild, and it affects a lot more people, but it's actually very rare to have celiac disease. And basically, what happens is when you eat gluten with celiac disease, your immune system sees it as a threat, I think, and it kind of like attacks your body, and it's really serious. But luckily, I'm not celiac. So, symptoms of gluten intolerance can range from gastrointestinal issues, again, like dairy, lactose intolerance, like bloating, diarrhea. But gluten intolerance can also cause headaches and fatigue and pain in your joints. Um, I don't know how that works. I think it's something to do with inflammation. And especially if you have celiac disease, even small, tiny, tiny trace amounts of gluten can actually cause irreparable, which means permanent damage to your small intestine. So you've got to be super careful if you're celiac. So let's talk about alternatives. There are so many gluten-free products available. I remember in 2018 when I first moved to Spain, it was really hard to find gluten-free products. But nowadays, you go into any like Lidl, Aldi, Carrefour, Mercadona, like any place like that, and you can find gluten-free pasta, gluten-free bread, gluten-free crackers, cookies, cakes, so many things. But there are things that are naturally gluten-free, like rice, quinoa, corn, that's not, those are grains, but they're not wheat. They're not gluten. By the way, if anyone's like, what the fuck is gluten? Gluten is like what's found in wheat products, as in WHEAT, wheat. So it's bread, pasta, pizza, anything with flour, it's got gluten in it. Yeah, so I would say in the last 10 years, the market for gluten-free products has expanded significantly, and it's made it a lot easier to exist in the world as a gluten-free person. So, yeah, the takeaway from this, I would say, living with these intolerances can be challenging, but with the right alternative foods and careful planning and just reading labels, that's one thing. You've got to be really careful and read all the labels. You have to be careful when you're ordering in restaurants, but it is possible to maintain a healthy diet. And I think it's just whatever diet you choose, it's about choosing what works best for your body and, for your lifestyle. I've just realized I just got a mosquito bite on my hand, but I'm sitting inside, so that means that there has to be a mosquito in the house with me, and I'm seeing if I can find him, but I can't. I have been getting eaten alive by mosquitoes recently, and it's summer in Bermuda, and they love to be around and ruin everybody's lives. Every time I go outside at nighttime, especially, I come back in the house with like 20 mosquito bites. I must have like sweet blood or something because mosquitoes have always loved me my whole life. All right, so our last kind of segment is talking about other diet types just for some fun and maybe some vocabulary. So let's talk about the different diets, and then we're going to also discuss the pros and cons of each diet. So the good things and the bad things, and whether they are safe and healthy. Now, I am not a dietitian, obviously. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I am just repeating information that I found on the internet and also sharing my opinion a little bit. So feel free to disagree with me, and tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong about anything or if you have any like opinions. Feel free to share them. Sorry, I keep touching my hair. If you're watching the video, I never straighten my hair. Normally I have my wavy curly hair, but today I decided to straighten my hair and I can't stop touching my hair because it feels so soft and nice. So sorry for touching it. Okay, first up is pescatarian diet. So obviously pescatarian, that means fish. It's a vegetarian diet that includes fish and seafood. Obviously, vegetarian means that you can still eat fish and animal products, but you don't eat meat. However, vegan means you don't eat any animal products. So that's like no fish, no meat, no eggs, no cheese, no honey sometimes. So, yeah, the pescatarian diet includes fish and seafood, and it's a flexible diet that kind of offers the benefits of a vegetarian lifestyle while still incorporating the benefits and the nutritional properties of fish. I guess I kind of ate pescatarian for a while, to be honest, because there was a period of time where I was transitioning from like vegan back to like my normal diet now, where I don't think I was eating eggs, but I was, and no meat, but I was eating a little bit of salmon. The weirdest thing from going from being vegan back to like quote unquote normal diet was eating chicken again. The smell, ugh, even sometimes it freaks me out now. The smell of chicken and like the texture of chicken and stuff. Like it still freaks me out. And I remember when I was going back to like eating meat, chicken was like freaking me out a lot and cooking it and the smell and everything. Now I'm a little bit better if I don't think about it too much. But if I'm cooking meat or eggs and I start like thinking about it, I start thinking like this is from an animal. Sometimes I just can't eat it. Like yeah, it freaks me out. So, sorry, let me just do a little sip of my coffee real quick. Sorry, I just realized I used improper English and I don't want you guys to copy me. We don't say do a sip of coffee, we say take a sip. Take a sip of water, take a sip of coffee, take a sip of a drink, not do. Don't copy me. Okay, pescatarian pros. What are the advantages? Pescatarians can enjoy high levels of like omega-3, like fatty acids, which are supposed to be good for your brain or something. I don't know. Oh, sorry. It says it here in my notes. Not your brain. Maybe also your brain, but it says it's beneficial for heart health. It's, also being pescatarian, I think one of the advantages is that it's a lot less strict than being vegetarian or vegan. And fish is a really good protein source. So, yeah, I think pescatarian is a pretty good option and a pretty healthy option for like a lifestyle and a diet. I do think there are some potential cons, some potential downsides. Of course, we all know that fish, especially, I think, I'm not sure if it's bigger fish or smaller fish, but they have mercury. I think all fish have mercury in them, but I'm not sure if it's like bigger or smaller fish are better. But a lot of fish these days have lots of contaminants in their bodies. And unfortunately, because of pollution, microplastics, which are tiny particles of plastics, are getting into our oceans and unfortunately into our seafood. So when you eat fish these days, they are saying that you are consuming microplastics. But you've got to pick your battles these days. I feel like everything is bad for you in some way. So yeah, you just have to keep those things in mind and take it with a pinch of salt. Um, also some ethical concerns about seafood, where it comes from, making sure it's sourced sustainably, which means, people are not overfishing, um, and having detrimental impacts to the environment. So you want to make sure that your fish is coming from a good source and it's being sourced sustainably. So you should take that into consideration as well if you're going to be pescatarian and you're going to be consuming a lot of fish. So yeah, I would say my opinion is overall the pescatarian diet is considered safe and balanced, but you need to make sure that you're choosing a variety of different fish and then I'll also monitor for any potential like contaminants and mercury and microplastics and all of that stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you've tried any of these diets and what your opinions are. That leads me on to our next topic, which I think is quite controversial. It's the fruitarian diet. So, the fruitarian diet is a diet primarily consisting of fruits. Some fruitarians also include nuts and seeds, but the majority of their caloric intake, which means how many calories are they ingesting, how many calories are they consuming, that comes from fruit. So honestly, they're basically just eating fruit. Okay, let's look at pros, advantages. This diet is obviously high in like vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. You get a lot of fiber from fruit, and it can be cleansing and light. However, there are a lot of cons. Firstly, you need to think, are you actually getting enough calories from this? How much fruit do you have to eat in order to sustain yourself? That's something that I would be concerned about. The next thing, it poses significant risks like nutritional deficiencies, particularly in protein, fats, and essential minerals. Like, how can you get enough protein from just eating like banana and mango and apple? and also fat. I mean, avocado is technically a fruit, so I guess you can eat avocado for healthy fat. But I also think just the high sugar content as well, like fruit is full of sugar. So if you're eating only fruit, I just the sugar content alone, I think is not sustainable in the long term. And you really have to think about whether that is like gonna sustain you. I don't know. I think it's a really weird diet choice, but I would be really interested to know, have you heard about this before, or have you even tried it? Or do you know somebody that tried it? I would be really interested. I don't think I know anybody who tried this. I do have a friend who is vegan and she's been vegan for like 17 years. And I think at one time she was fruitarian, but I don't think it lasted very long. So, yeah, I would say due to the risks, the fruitarian diet is not recommended as a long-term diet, and it can lead to serious health issues if it's followed strictly. So I would not recommend this, but I'm not a professional. So, yeah, I would say each of these diets has its own set of benefits and also challenges and drawbacks. And I think it's important to consider your own health needs and your lifestyle when you choose how you're going to eat. I think, especially if you're going to make a change, you should consult your healthcare professional, your doctor, or even a nutritionist. Like I went to a nutritionist and she told me for your body, being vegan is not sustainable, especially with my chronic health issues. She said you need to be eating some meat products. So I think that as long as you're just eating like a balanced diet and making sure that it's the right thing for you, that's the most important thing. So, just to end up, let's look at some studies and statistics to kind of understand the broader impact of these diets. This is the fun part. Well, I think this is fun because I like statistics and I like reading studies. So, let's have a look let's have a look at veganism. A study published in the Journal of the American Di Dietetic, the American Dietetic Association, apparently, found that, let me start from the beginning. A study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that well-planned vegan diets can provide adequate nutrition and health benefits, including lower risks of heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. However, supplementation of vitamin B12 is crucial for vegans. That means if you're going to be vegan, you must take B12 because you cannot get it from any other source than animals. Oh, it's primarily found in animal products. So maybe you can find a little bit of B12 in something else, but if you're not eating meat, you need to take a B12 pill supplement. All right, let's have a look at some statistics of lactose intolerance. That's been my problem since I was like 13 years old, and it's not fun. People always are like, "How do you not eat cheese?" And I'm like, honestly, I haven't eaten cheese in so long that I don't even know what real cheese tastes like. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, I haven't had a piece of cheese or real milk since I was 13 years old. So I just eat vegan cheese. I drink almond milk. Like my body doesn't even know what that tastes like anymore. And I remember recently, like a year ago, so not that recently, I was at a restaurant and it was supposed to be a vegan restaurant or mostly vegan with some vegetarian options on the menu. It was very confusing and I messed up. It was my fault. I ordered pancakes with what I thought was vegan ricotta cheese. It turns out it was real friggin' cheese. And I remember I was with my ex-boyfriend. I'm sitting there eating these pancakes with this vegan ricotta and this syrup, and it was delicious. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never tasted anything like this in my life because I don't remember what cheese tastes like. So I'm like freaking out. Oh my God, this is the best vegan ricotta I've ever had. 5 minutes later, my stomach is like rumbling. It's grumbling and rumbling. And I'm like, Oh no. I open the menu, I look at the pancakes, and it's real ricotta cheese. I looked at my ex-boyfriend and I said, we need to go home right now because there is about to be a situation with my digestion. Let's get out of here. So that was the last time that I mistakenly ate lactose. It was not fun. But yeah, I don't remember what lactose tastes like. So, sorry, what cheese tastes like. So it was funny. I was like, oh my God, this cheese is amazing. Yeah, that's because it was real cheese, Gemma. Okay, so according to the National Institutes of Health, lactose intolerance is prevalent in about 65% of the human population after infancy. This high prevalence highlights the importance of lactose-free options and awareness of this condition. I had no idea that 65% of people are lactose intolerant. Obviously, a lot of them are mildly lactose intolerant, so they just eat cheese and have diarrhea and don't care. But I am not one of those people. All right, let's look at our friend gluten intolerance. Research by the Celiac Disease Foundation indicates that about 1% of the population has celiac disease, with many more experiencing non-celiac gluten sensitivity. This growing awareness has led to an increase in gluten-free product availability and improved diagnostic methods. So basically, what that is saying is that true celiac disease, which is very serious, only about 1% of the population has that. And then everybody else just has gluten sensitivity, which isn't as serious. I thought that was kind of interesting. I think those studies kind of highlight the importance of awareness of these different types of, intolerances and allergies. So yeah, that's basically it, you guys. Thank you for listening. I think, whatever diet you choose, the most important thing is to listen to your body, make sure you're eating healthy, whatever healthy means to you, and just make sure you're having a balanced diet. I think that's the most important thing. And if you're vegan, make sure you're supplementing with B12. If you're pescatarian, I honestly think that's great. Like I think I something I really realized the other day is I eat a lot of eggs. I never used to, but now I probably eat eggs like 4 times a week, probably like for breakfast. So, and I know in Spain they cook with eggs a lot too. So, yeah, that's something I noticed the other day. But I hope this discussion you can tell. You can tell I've been recording for a while when this kind of stuff starts happening. Especially especially when I start laughing at my own jokes, which they're not even jokes. It's actually just me messing up my words and it's not even funny. But when I start laughing for no reason, that's when you know it's time to end the episode. So I hope this discussion has given you some insights and useful information about different dietary choices. So yeah, until next time, take care and eat well. And I'll see you next week. Bye.